Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Moen After Dark here on the College Football Mafia Network. I am your host, Moen, and joined by College Football Express's Rock and Rant. That's CFB Express on Twitter and YouTube. How are you doing tonight, Rock?
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. We're on the downslope of days till week 1, right? We're more than halfway past the midpoint between the last game and the first game, so it's all downhill from here. Though I think it might still all be crazy until then.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see how the season plays out, obviously. But tonight we're going to talk about non-conference matchups, the top 10 non-cons of the college football season that's upcoming. Before we get started here, would remind everybody we do our Moen movie of the week. This week is Burt Reynolds Goes Fast. So that poll is up, and you've got Smokey and the Bandit, the Cannonball Run, Stroker Ace, and White Lightning. Those are your options. Go ahead and vote on those throughout the show, which one you want to watch for next week, and that's what we'll do. This week's theme was Porky's, which I didn't really watch because I watched it last year. I watched all three of them last year, but I decided I decided to make myself sit through another one of those screwballs, and just a terrible movie, just terrible. Um, like Porky's is at least a well-made movie. You may not enjoy the humor, but it's a well-made movie. Screwballs, on the other hand, is not a well-made movie. So
Moen, you're a disgusting little filthy pervert.
I know. Let's say hello to some of the people that came in here early. Appreciate everybody coming in here early. Outlaw Skies, he's fifth. Go Buckeyes. John Dry's here. He says, "Hey y'all." Friends call me Sean. In the near future, bowls will move to the beginning of the season and become kickoff classics for the big P3 or P4 non-conference games. Week 0 or possibly week -1.
I mean, God bless if you want to go to some of those Southern Bowl locations in the middle of August for a vacation. The humidity bowls should be presented by Carrier Air Conditioning.
Yeah, I mean, well, I would say you could come north, but it's just as bad in, humidity wise sometimes. Old Dad is here. He says, "Yo, go Knowles. Sooner is better." We're going to talk about the Knowles a little bit tonight. They've got a very interesting matchup this year.
Sooner is better. I think that's an indication of where they might be going.
There you go. Might be a new rivalry. And then he says 24 team CFP is inevitable.
It's like Thanos without the wait for the sequel.
Nick Kelso's here. He says, "Woo damn pig." Like to see a little bit more out of Arkansas. Yes. Caleb Ramirez is here. He says, "Hi all."
What's up, Caleb?
Buckshot Kid says, "No longest yard." We did not put longest yard. It's Burt Reynolds Goes Fast. So every one of those movies involves Burt Reynolds in a fast car. So that's the theme. We try and keep it as a theme. And by the way, for next week, if somebody has a theme they want to put out there, go ahead and put that in the chat as well, or in the comments section if you're watching on demand. In softball, Okie Light knocked ATM out, and Texas Tech knocked Ole Miss out of the College World Series. Yeah, I don't follow softball. Now, Becky Go Huskies, if she was on here, she could probably give you in-depth analysis on that because she is a softball fanatic and a former softball player at the collegiate level. Tom Dubay is here. He says, "Hey, Mo, and random question. Is it true Ohio Staters say the Ohio State University to make sure people don't confuse it with Ohio University?" Well, we don't call ourselves Ohio Staters. We would call ourselves Buckeyes. We say the Ohio State University because it is the premier university in United States of America, and we just want to make sure we get that out there. Most people don't confuse it with OU, and OU is a great school. It's right down the road from me. I'm not shitting on OU at all. I love the Bobcats, but yeah, nobody's confusing the two. Very, very different campuses. David Floyd is here. He says, "So is this Duke to the Big Ten real?" They're trying to make it real. I can tell you that. We talked about it on Friday. They're out there pitching hard. They're knocking on doors, kissing babies. Everything they try and think they can do.
It's real and it's spectacular. If you want to get paid.
Yeah. Buckshot Kid. Oh, hey, Moan and Rock. Thank you, Moan, for the gift membership to College Football Express. You're very welcome, Buckshot Kid. Mississippi Bulldog, or Bulldog Mississippi, gave me a gifted membership, so I went ahead and paid that forward over on the College Football Express channel. And if you aren't subscribed yet to the College Football Express channel, you should definitely run over there and do that right after the show.
All the cool kids are, but make sure you're subscribed to CFB Mafia first.
Great analysis. If you want recruiting analysis, Flo is the man. By the way, congratulations. Miami's pulled what, 2 players today?
Yeah, I mean, I saw the Oregon flip, which is super interesting because Oregon's DB coach has dallied with Miami, twice this offseason, but ultimately stayed at Oregon. So I think that was Mario's way of thanking him for wasting his time.
Also got an edge rusher, I saw.
Yeah, lost an offensive lineman to Texas A&M. Then I saw his reaction, his commitment moment, and he's got a little bit of a high pitch there. So maybe it's a better cultural fit to do some of the cheers there down in Aggie land.
It's the best part is the commitments don't mean dick anymore. It's like this kid committed April 24th. It's May 17th, and he's already flipped.
I think it depends a little bit upon what state you're operating in too, right? Because some states you can actually get a contract going and have it be fairly locked in, where other states prohibit high school seniors from getting to that spot. But I would encourage you. Matthews was a lineman, 5-star that Miami and others definitely wanted, to be clear. And I'm bummed that Miami lost on him. He's a South Florida kid, so props to Texas A&M. And it's not always just about the bag. The money was pretty even, so he really wanted to go there. But if you saw his reaction in that video, it was a little bit unique. It's probably worth looking at, and it made it easier to say maybe he just wasn't a cultural fit. He also wanted to play left tackle, and he's been playing right tackle in high school because his quarterback, is a lefty. Makes sense, and he wanted to play left tackle, and you're probably not playing left tackle at Miami with Jackson Cantwell taking that spot over as a freshman this year, so it makes sense for the kid. But the commitment thing was interesting.
Jacober Cat, Greg is so cold that if he were a landscape, traveling pioneers would see each other as caloric sustenance. Don't drop that one on Greg. That one might go over his head, Jacober Cat, but I appreciate that.
You guys are doing PhD trolling on Greg, and it's he can't multitask on it.
Yeah, they're going a little over his head. We may have to go more lowbrow. And then look at this. The Evil Badger, Ryan Willie, back from the country music concert at Lambeau. I hope you enjoyed that concert, Ryan. Hope you had fun. He has gifted 10 memberships to the College Football Mafia family, and those went to MBM 357, Brad Taylor, Daryl Harlow, Jonathan Weaver, Joe's Harby, Joshua Arby. Okay, we'll go with that. Anthony Sinney, the Bell Rock, Mountaineer Jerry.
Mountaineer in Jersey.
Mountaineer in Jersey, excuse me. Pit Snipe Husker and Tasbo all gifted memberships for that.
Some lurkers, some names I don't think I've ever seen.
Absolutely. And what's great, it's you guys now have access to the College Football Mafia membership perks. That includes memberships only videos. exclusive emotes in the chat. We're going to do members only stream this month at some point. And you have Ryan Willie to thank for that. He dropped a huge 10 gifted sub membership bomb. Ryan, thank you so much. I appreciate your loyal viewership and your friendship. And if you received one of those, make sure you thank Ryan. Even if you're not here and you just get the notification and you come to the channel, leave it in the comment section. I know Ryan is in the comment section quite a bit, and I'm sure he would appreciate it. We appreciate you, Ryan, very much, sir. As far as sounders go, I'm kind of stuck with what I've got on this board because the Google Drive crashed and I got to reset the tablet. But let me see if we got the Badger. And we've got Ryan's evil laugh. Here we go. And then for Jacobra Cat, we've got this one because this one was specifically put on the board for Jacobra Cat because of the stuff he says.
Dude, the fuck? I mean, really, the fuck, dude, the fuck?
After his many comments about the 50 Shades of Scarlet and Gray. You may have to go back a few weeks to catch that arc from Jacobra Cat involving former President Ted Carter and the woman he was allegedly having an inappropriate relationship with. Ryan says the concert was great, fantastic. Love to hear it, Ryan. Absolutely love hearing that you had a good time at the concert. Very cool. Friends Call Me Sean says it will be hot, talking about moving the bowl games. That's how his character went to jail, was speeding a fast car. Absolutely. But in the 4 movies I mentioned, they're much more Burt Reynolds' car. We will do The Longest Yard. We'll do Best Football Movie 1. Buckshot Kid. We'll do The Longest Yard, the original. We're not going to do the Adam Sandler version. The Replacements, which is one of my favorites.
I love that one. Yeah.
Yeah. We'll do that. We'll do that as a theme once.
I mean, even Draft Day is like a really bad good movie to me. I didn't like it the first time, and now it's like the best background music movie for like around the draft.
That's one with Kevin Costner is the GM of the Cleveland Browns, right?
It is correct.
Yeah.
Pancake eating.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of that movie either. Please refer to University of Oklahoma as U of O. OU is Ohio University. You're going to have some Sooners that are going to argue with you on that one, but if you want to talk about parties, ain't no party like an Ohio University party. Listen, when the National Guard gets called in to break up a party, you got a hell of a party atmosphere at a school. MBM 357 says, Duke to the big, we got these cheeseburgers, man. Didn't get that reference. Don't be a menace to South Central while drinking your juice in the hood.
Well, you do have the newer Longest Yard did have whatchamacallit having McDonald's cheeseburgers in his pits to give you.
That's true. You know what else? And I was thinking Stir Crazy, the guy who's going to get him a cheeseburger. Just noticed your hat. Absolutely. I figured I'd wear this one for the Porky's theme night. It seemed appropriate. As much as it upsets my girlfriend, I will pick up a hat like this anytime I see one. So when I stop to get gas, if there is a hat like this in there, I will pick it up. Nate Bomber has joined us. You guys look great. Everyone subscribe, follow, like at the CFB Mafia, at CFB Express. Thank you, Bomber, for stopping in. Catch Bomber this Tuesday. He's going to be interviewing Jeremiah Dickey, athletic director at Boise State University. That should be pretty cool. If you're a Boise State fan, or if you're just, Pac-10 Mountain West aficionado, definitely something you should check out. David Sabinosh is in the house. He says, "Good evening, Moan and Rock. Thanks for stopping in."
Hello.
Don Scruggs is here. He says, "Sup, y'all? Good to see you, Don." Ryan loves that evil laugh. That is officially the Badger laugh. I think I need to combine that somehow with that angry Badger. The Best of Times is the best football movie. We can put it on the list. I like Gator more than White Lightning. Bama McCall was an awesome villain. Yeah, Rock said we couldn't do Gator because of his Miami biases. I think
It's a
Oregon.
rule.
I think Oregon is the U of O and Oklahoma is OU. If Ohio makes it to a power conference, then they can stake that claim. They're probably not going to make it to a power conference, but hey, if one of the gubernatorial candidates wins here in Ohio, we're going to lose 2 MAC members. So who knows? That might completely collapse. The MAC may collapse. I mean, we haven't really talked about it, but yeah, one of the governor candidates in Ohio has suggested that he wants to take 2 of the existing MAC schools, Akron and Kent State, and make them excellent centers. So they would have no athletics.
Like Ramaswamy is the new abracadabra for disappear.
Yeah. Excellent centers, and it's unfortunate. So, because Akron and Kent State are good universities. All Georgia players prefer Cannonball Run. Yeah, we could do. It was funny, this week Daniel Gorby sent me a thing on Twitter, a private message on Twitter that said, it was a little meme. It said gas has got so expensive that Georgia players can't get arrested. And then like literally 2 hours later, I texted him a link to the SI article about the Georgia player speeding. The original Brian song is the best football movie.
Nobody wants to cry. There's no crying in football. Plus, that was a TV movie, technically.
Frank Potter says, when I taught at South Carolina, I kept trying to not use USC and lost every time. Yeah, everybody's going to fight for their right to be, hey, look, OSU, we call it OSU here in Ohio too, and I know Oklahoma State, obviously OSU, they put it in their logo. So to each their own. Dang, that sucks for Ohio. It sucks for a lot of teams. If that happens, it's basically going to be removing 2 teams from the MAC. And I sincerely hope that doesn't happen. Ohio to the Sun Belt could be. It's going to be hard to keep them together if you lose 2 members like that.
That would be the right move.
Bob Swanger says, "Hey everyone, good to see you, Bob."
What's up?
All right, I think we got rolled through here. We got everything. Wait, we got one Jacobra Cat one here. Greg So Cold Dahmer used him as freezer pack meat. That's a little on the dark side. Well, that's not even a little on the dark. That's very on the dark side. We're going into cannibalism territory. But thank you
John
for the
Cafferty
super
territory. Yeah. The Beaver Brown Band.
Once again, let's see what we got here for him. I used we'll do this. There you go. Thank you for the super chat, Jacobra Cat. Like the way that rhymes. Let's go ahead and we're going to start talking about non-conference games for the 2026 season, guys. I got top 10. I made the top 10. So if you disagree with it, that's fine. Rock had nothing to do with this, but I think he'll be happy with it. But I know people are already going to say number 1 is bias. So we'll just get that out of the way. But we're going to start with number 10. And number 10, I put Boise State at Oregon on September 5th.
Hey, look, that was a close game, 2 years ago.
It was an Oregon kick return that basically helped seal the game for the Ducks. But this is a highly dangerous season opener for the Ducks. Oregon enters as a national title contender. I think we can all agree to that. Dante Moore coming back. But Boise State, they're arriving with a major chip on its shoulder. They do have talent to pull off these sneaky fun upsets. It wouldn't be surprising to see Boise State go into Autzen and somehow pull it off. I think it's a really interesting option for a non-conference game for Oregon. And like Rock mentioned, that game 2 years ago with Ashton Genty running all over the Ducks, could we see a repeat?
Did Ashton Genty get demoted from the NFL?
No. I'm just saying, I'm just trying to illustrate that Boise State, it would not be the first time for Boise State to play the David role and sling the rock and slay Goliath.
Absolutely. I wouldn't be surprised, though. I don't know that this is the year, but I think it's a good game to look ahead to for sure.
Yeah, and Coy brings up a great point here in the chat. This is an old school old pack versus new pack. Former Pac-10 member Oregon playing.
Does that make a 2-pack?
Yes, it's a double pack, back-to-back pack. But I thought that's an interesting matchup. That's going to be on September 5th. That's in Autzen Stadium. Obviously, Oregon's going to be very favored in that one. They'll probably be double-digit favorites.
Oh yeah, I would think 2 touchdown favorites.
Yeah. But I'd like to see the spread on that closer to the game, because look, if it's double digits, I might take Boise State on that one. That might be a good sneaky bet.
Well, right now, it's a 10.5.
10.5, yeah.
According to the Vegas Insider Action Network, take it what you will.
And I think you'll probably see that move more towards Oregon as we go on as well. Because I think people probably bet heavy on Oregon. That'll probably go up to like 12.5, 13.5.
Wouldn't doubt it.
But that is a season opener for both teams. So I'm excited. I like that matchup. Really do. This is one I went back and forth on a little bit. But I'm going to put it on there. Baylor versus Auburn. This is a neutral site game.
I think this is an interesting game, Owen. I think I understand why it's here. I mean, I can't argue it being here, right? New coach versus on hot seat. South Florida in Auburn essentially, versus is somebody getting warm there with a quarterback that South Florida beat last year in Gainesville, contributing to somebody else getting fired, and the quarterback probably winding up in Baylor with DJ Lagway.
Right, and Alex Golish was, of course, the coach at USF, as you mentioned. This is the Aflac kickoff game. This will be in the Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta. Dave Aranda, he's this guy has kind of went through the gamut of coaching. He's been on NFL watch lists, then the hot seat, then his seat cooled down. Then people wanted him fired, and now people seem to think, or Baylor fans at least seem to think, he may have turned it around after last season.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
But a lot of new talent coming in at Auburn. Alex Golish is there. I think it's going to be a very interesting matchup. And if Baylor pulls this off, SEC fans are going to be devastated, I think. I think Auburn losing to Baylor in the Georgia Mercedes-Benz Dome in Georgia, deep in SEC country, this could be a very severe blow for the SEC conference.
Yeah, listen, it will definitely be there's a lot of storylines around that one for sure.
Yeah, definitely an interesting matchup. Again, I went back and forth on this one a little bit, but I think it's going to be interesting. I think it's probably going to be a closer game than most people expect. And we'll see, like we said, does DJ Lagway finally show all the talent that he has been promised. You know. Number 8, Tennessee Volunteers at Georgia Tech on September 12th. This one's going to be good. I like this one. This is a true campus non-conference game for the SEC against an ACC foe. This is going to be played in Atlanta. It will be a major early test for both teams as they break in new high-profile talent under center. Both coaches have done a phenomenal job at their situations, but man, Brent Key, can he get it done at Georgia Tech and pull off the upset over Tennessee, who a lot of people have as a dark horse national title contender?
Okay, well, 2 parts, and then I have because one was a
Okay.
question. First one is on the Brent Key side. Look, you're replacing 2 coordinators, and your quarterback chosen is theoretically potentially starting for Florida Gators with his OC who moved down there. So there's a lot of questions there on the Georgia Tech side, and I will admit that I have not seen anyone. And I'm not saying that you are incorrect in saying it, but I have not seen anyone pick Tennessee to potentially be a dark horse national contender. There's a lot of conversations about, the talented young quarterback that might be taking over, but they will have a talented, potentially young quarterback taking over since they couldn't get an extra year of eligibility for their former quarterback. So I just hadn't seen that.
Yeah, and they couldn't poach the kid from Cal. They were in that Cal stakes and I'm not even going to try and pronounce that kid's name. So
they couldn't get JKS. They could not get Sam Levitt as well. That was one they were definitely in where he was visiting when some of the messaging was going on with Lane Kiffin. So they were definitely in the mix for trying to bring somebody in. Ultimately, they're going to have to stay in house and see what happens.
Yeah, it should be an interesting matchup. I really, if Brent Key can pull it off, I think that's going to be a huge program builder for him. Because then they also have to play Georgia at the end of the season. So you can get up 1-0 on an SEC foe. That should be able to carry them through the season. I think a lot of people have Georgia Tech ranked very highly in the ACC. Not at Miami level yet, but they are. He's building a program there. He's building a winner. So I hope he can continue to do it. And since we said Georgia Tech, I will take a drink. I don't want to break the cycle. Moving on to number 7, Louisville versus Ole Miss. This one's on September 6th. This is a neutral site game. This is going to be played at Nissan Stadium in Nashville, Tennessee, which is basically halfway point for each school. These are 2 ascending programs, obviously. Louisville's Jeff Brom locking in a massive extension. Ole Miss fielding a dangerous offense. They were a playoff team last year. This kickoff weekend finale has serious early playoff positioning on the line. What do you think, Jeff Brom? Louisville has done everything to make this man happy. They have poured money into that athletic program. Does Jeff Brom get it done against Ole Miss? And how does Ole Miss look moving forward this season?
Well, I mean, Ole Miss is taking so many strays here in the offseason, so this is their first chance to fight back. I think that's an interesting game. I think that's I'm actually, let me look that one up too in terms of if there are any early odds on that one, because my just gut is that I think that's a 1-score game, and I could see old Louisville pulling it off. Right? We saw what happened with Ole Miss while Charlie Weiss Jr. was still there. Right now they're at 8.5-point opening favorite against the Cardinals. We saw what happened with Charlie Weiss still in house, but now he's gone. Right now he's over at LSU, so now it's the true sort of staff that Ole Miss has put together. So we'll see how that really comes together. But I think that's one of the more interesting games. A sort of parallel comment there, Moen, because another thing we could look at is what would have been the top 10 games if we factored in all of the Power 4 games that got canceled for this 2026 season as the playoff stuff going on and reducing schedules and expanded conference games going. At one point, we had USC at Ole Miss on the schedule for this year, and we had Georgia at Louisville on the schedule for this year. So, two of the games that I think would have even been more interesting.
Yeah, I really like Jeff Brom as a coach. The man put a winner on the field at Purdue. If anybody remember, I mean, it was I think it was like a 7-5 team, but he had a winning record at Purdue, and that's really saying something in the Big Ten to have a winning record at Purdue. So I look for Jeff Brom to really do good things this year in the ACC. Ole Miss to me is a question mark. I don't know. They look good in the playoffs, but I don't know if they've lost so much. Can they rebuild? We'll see. It's going to be a tough game. They still got
Chambliss, man. They still got Chambliss.
He's entering his 9th year of eligibility, I'm sure. So it's,
Pete Golding is definitely doing everything he can to keep Ole Miss prominent. That is why he's getting haymakers thrown at him. Lane, you can understand. Dabo, we all get. But Sark, if you talked about flow and recruiting earlier, one of the things he said on our show the other night is the reason why they're getting these hits is because there's the rules, which everybody is breaking, and then there's the unwritten rules, which Pete Golding is really breaking.
Yes.
And that's why he's getting it's not, it's why it's a different level. Now, again, take the Lane Kiffin's is almost its own thing, but that's what's going on in the background from what he's hearing from people about why there's a constant drumbeat. But
yeah, it's interesting that Lane Kiffin is still the villain, I think, in the scenario, but Golding has not made friends with anybody in the Power Four conferences because, Sarkisian obviously came out and took that shot saying like a degree at Ole Miss was like getting a cup of coffee, compared to what Texas is. But, at the same time, I'm not going to lie, Texas does the gaudy Lamborghini show off and all that. It's not like, I'm not saying Texas isn't a fine academic institution. It is. It's one of the best in the country. But those most of those football players are not in advanced trigonometry, So
you mean they're not in the neurosciences getting ready to study their own brains with CTE later?
Right. They're not, there are classes of Ole Miss level at Texas. Number 6, moving on, Wisconsin Badgers versus Notre Dame on September 6th. This is technically a neutral game, but it is played at Lambeau Field, which is in Green Bay, Wisconsin. This is the Shamrock Series. It brings the primetime spectacle to the historic home of the Green Bay Packers. It is only the 3rd college football game ever played at the venue, making it an absolute must-watch event for the sheer atmosphere alone. This is going to be a good one. Be very interested. Do you have that lineup still? Let's see what the line is on that.
Yeah, I'm pulling it right now.
Yeah, because I'm
16
really
and a half points.
16 and a half points. I'm really interested. And I think Notre Dame probably wins this. Notre Dame probably wins it, but I don't think it's going to be a 17-point win.
And actually, I think FanDuel has it even worse, 19 and a half.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be all that. Notre Dame is breaking in new people. Wisconsin, they'll hopefully have a healthy quarterback for the first time. Luke Fickell got a vote of confidence. They're putting money into the program this year. Can Wisconsin maybe shock the world and pull it off?
I don't think so, though. I think Wisconsin's going to be better this year than they were last year.
I tend to agree with you. I love you, Ryan Willie, but I don't think Wisconsin's going to beat the Irish. But I think they're going to perform much better than 16 and a half point dogs.
Ryan, if it makes you feel any better, I'm all Badgers on this one. I'll be rooting for you.
As will I. I will absolutely be a Badger fan on that day. I absolutely hope Luke Fickell's got that, at least some semblance of an offense going, and he just tells them to pin their ears back and rush Carr. Here's another interesting one. Number 5, Florida State at Alabama on September 19th. If you recall, last year Florida State did not win an ACC game, but they did beat Alabama.
Let's just say that was the initial version of the Mirage Bowl.
Yes, everybody was very high on Florida State following that game for obvious reasons.
I was high on them for that game in the next 3 or 4, to be clear, too.
Yeah.
You know?
And Kalen DeBoer was already on the hot seat at Alabama for losing it. So very interesting. He's got to play in Tuscaloosa. That's a, damn tough atmosphere to play in. But this is pure revenge for the Crimson Tide. Florida State shocked them last year, beat them 31-17 in Tallahassee. They go to Tuscaloosa for the first time since 1974. Tide will be looking.
Points.
How many?
14 consensus.
That sounds about right. I don't know. I think I might take Alabama on that one. Hey, I mean, Mike Norvell, he had that one magical season, but
Dead man walking.
yeah, he's on the Green Mile at this point. And everybody thought he was the man, and he just has not fulfilled any of his promise since that undefeated season. Now, he absolutely deserved to go to the playoffs. I'm not going to argue that. He absolutely deserved to go to the playoffs that year.
No question.
Instead, Alabama went to the playoffs, which just adds even more fuel to this fire. But, Mike Norvell, man, I don't know. I think Florida State fans at the end of this year are probably going to be happy. They're probably going to get rid of Mike Norvell.
Which means he'll go 7-5 and make it super hard for them to decide.
Yeah, even at 7-5, I don't think it'll be super hard. It'll come down to ACC play, I think. Yeah. They got to win some games in the ACC conference.
Yeah, I mean, I don't personally think FSU is going 7-5. I just don't think they have the talent at quarterback and generally on the offensive side to do so. I would probably bet the under, but I think a lot of FSU fans would be happy if that happens because it ensures the fate. I think there's a bye week in between Miami and Clemson. That would be sort of the mark. But, Norvell is like hot and cold, man. So you never would you be utterly shocked if somehow he came back to life? I mean, I'd be pretty surprised, but is it out of the question? It's still FSU.
He beat Alabama last year. It's just one of those things. I don't know. He just has trouble winning in the ACC. But yeah, a lot of Florida State fans calling for his head. If his buyout wasn't so huge, if you remember the Bama sweepstakes, Jimmy Sexton basically got all his coaches raises and extensions, including Mike Norvell, by basically teasing that they were going to go to Alabama. So Sarkisian got a raise, Norvell got a raise, pretty much everybody got a raise.
Just jumping ahead because it's on brand for your old dad, our FSU fan in the chat.
Minnesota is destroying Florida State's football brand.
Mike Norvell, man, Mike Norvell.
Oh, Mike Norvell. Excuse me. I apologize. Listen, Florida State, he's got to go. Moving on. Still interesting. If Florida State pulls the upset, I'll be interesting to see where they're ranked.
That's a soap opera game,
It's storylines. You've got, revenge for Alabama. Florida State still has that chip on their shoulder from missing the playoffs a couple years ago because of Alabama. There's a lot of storylines here. It should be interesting. Number 4, moving on, the Notre Dame Fighting Irish going to BYU October 17th. This was the USC game originally. And this is now at BYU. That is the substitute for USC that the Irish chose. BYU contending for the Big 12 title, I'm sure this year as well. Have just missed, and these are two teams that definitely talk about storylines, chip on the shoulder. These are the two teams that just missed the playoffs last year.
Flo made the argument when we were talking about this game recently that this might be the most important regular season game in the Big 12 in the last few years, including games like Holy War or Texas Tech, because BYU, I think they have two out of three ways of winning in this game for themselves, right? Until the Big 12 conference gets all of the credibility they probably do deserve, right? Because they just haven't had enough people at the top or in the playoffs in more than one team. Each team needs to fight for itself. If BYU wins this game, they're golden, right? They get all the credibility of beating Notre Dame, who will almost certainly be a top 5 team, if not higher, by the time October 17th rolls around. If they play them close, they still will probably get validation for playing a top 5 team that people might have a 10-point or whatever. I'll look at the odds in a second game close, and they'll get some respect for the game. What they just can't do is get blown out.
Very interesting. Last time these two teams met in Provo, BYU pulled off the upset 20-17 over Notre Dame. Of course, that was back in 2004. But like you mentioned, that Notre Dame, they're not a dark horse. They're one of the darlings for the national championship this year. I think they're top 3 odds to win the national championship this year. Obviously, CJ Carr, fantastic quarterback coming back to the program. They did lose Jeremiah Love and the other running back, but, Marcus Freeman has really done a fantastic job recruiting there. So I don't expect the talent to have – I don't expect we'll see a talent fall off like we have at some other schools.
Yeah, BYU is currently a 7-point dog at home, but that's one of the lowest odds of these games so far that we've looked at. And the latest FanDuel odds have Notre Dame as the second odds behind Ohio State for the title. Ohio State's plus 550, Notre Dame 700, Texas 750.
Okay. That's definitely going to be an interesting game. Lavelle Edwards Stadium, I'm sure, is going to be rocking. They're going to be eating their cougar tails and drinking their milk. But I think Notre Dame's going to go in there, and I think BYU is going to do pretty well. But I still think I do like Notre Dame in that game. I hate Notre Dame, but I just think this might be the year.
I'm torn on this one because I would like BYU to win, but I also know what happens if Notre Dame is still undefeated at this point, setting up a game.
Yes, absolutely, and we will get to that game. Number 3, Oklahoma Sooners traveling to the Big House, going to Michigan September 12th. Kyle Whittingham, new coach at Michigan. How does he handle this? I mean, Oklahoma Sooners rolling in, bringing a lot of talent back, a lot of defensive talent. How do they cope with, Michigan? Kyle Whittingham, again, Oklahoma has a brutal September on the schedule. They have to survive in Ann Arbor. It's going to be critical for their playoff aspirations.
Storylines, right? Kyle Whittingham, their Mateer coming back from injury after making it to the playoffs, right? But can he return to the form that had him early in the Heisman odds? The Big Ten SEC, this is one of the few Big Ten SEC matchups in out of conference in the early part of the season. We obviously have Texas and Ohio State, but this is definitely interesting. What do they do with Underwood? Does he take that leap that people thought he would do? And everyone forgets, for all the criticism Oklahoma had, and Michigan had, I think they still finished 17th or 18th in the playoff rankings. They were, one win away probably from making it, right? One game flip, they probably would have made it had they beat Ohio State at the end of the year, maybe.
Right, and it's just a tale of two coaches as well. Last year Brent Venables on the hot seat. It was very hot in Oklahoma, and Sharon Moore, everybody kind of thought he was going to be the coach. So, Sharon Moore gets fired, obviously, for off-the-field activities, but he's out of there. They bring in Kyle Whittingham to stabilize the program, and we'll see how Whit does. I think he's a good coach for Michigan, good transitional coach. Let's see how he takes Michigan to the next level if he can. Moving on, number 2, here we go. Miami at Notre Dame. This is considered an ACC game, but we're going to count it as an out-of-conference game. this
It's part of the
obviously has
scheduling agreement, right? So it is
right,
still
right. This is going to be a huge. This is the biggest game for both programs this
Yeah.
season.
And if everything goes chalk by that time in the season, it could very well be undefeated, top 5, could be 1 versus 2 depending upon what happens with others. And plus, it's a November game of that level, right? So there's only a handful of those games that on paper could be that way. And Notre Dame, all since they didn't get in, too much talking on the net. The revenge tour against everybody, apparently.
Yeah, obviously, Notre Dame did not get in last year. Miami got in. I thought that was the correct decision. But yeah, Notre Dame obviously very upset, would not play a bowl game. This has enormous playoff weight. Both programs view 2026 as a pivotal year, and this November non-conference victory will have huge magnitude, heavily influencing the CFP selection committee. Late in the season, this is not an early game that you can recover from. If one of these teams stumbles early, this becomes must win.
Correct. Like if Notre Dame loses to BYU, they can't lose this game.
Cannot lose to Miami late in November. It's just the committee has shown it that late season losses do get factored more heavily than early season losses.
Yeah, both of these teams can lose to each other, but if they have another loss, depending upon how the rest of the season goes in college football, at least Miami will have theoretically a chance, maybe, to get in via a conference championship game should that happen. Right. Notre Dame cannot lose 2 games this year. Their schedule is not good enough. There are other years that Notre Dame could absolutely lose 2 games. Last year wasn't one of them, and this year is not one of them, especially without USC being on their schedule. Unless SMU, who they also play, has a really great season, which is possible, and they're highly ranked, maybe that saves them, and that's a late game for Notre Dame as well, I believe, or at least mid-season too late. They can't do that.
Yeah, and you brought up a great point. Conference champions are now guaranteed a spot in the college football playoff. So the ACC champion, whoever it might be, if this was last year, Duke would have been playing in the college football playoff.
Well, Notre Dame would have been also, because they now have their rule, right? That as long as they're in the top 12, they can't get bumped out.
Right. So those are some the tweaks they've made on the 12-team playoff. I know we've been talking 24-team and 16-team playoff, but they have been tweaking the 12-team model to make it a little more interesting. So Miami obviously could lose 2 games, get to the ACC championship, win, and, get in there regardless. But I think this is a must win. I think late November, I think this is a must win for both teams. All right, moving on. Number 1, again, I know everybody's going to say this is biased, but Ohio State at Texas. Again, early season, top 3 matchup. As Rock mentioned earlier, the odds are Ohio State's the odds-on favorite to win the national championship. Texas is number 3 in that race. This is at Texas. This will be a night game. Last year, Ohio State wanted a night game. Texas did not want a night game in the shoe. And this year, since it's at home, Texas did want a night game, and Ohio State is apparently obliged. Night game, Ohio State at Texas, September 12th. Talk about storylines. Here we go. 2 years ago, Ohio State knocks Texas out of the playoffs en route to a national championship. Last year, we had the number 1 versus number 2 matchup early in the season. Ohio State, Carnell Tate, Julian saying hits a long pass to Carnell Tate, ends up being the difference in a very heavy defensive minded game. What do you think about this game, Rock?
Oh, I think it's going to be great. Right now it's essentially a neutral field. Ohio State would be a favorite, but it's in Austin. It's a 1.5 point game. Ohio State underdog on FanDuel at the moment, as high as 2.5 points, but that's essentially like a pick'em game for the most part if it was a neutral field. So, look, Arch Manning didn't have the beginning of the season he did, though this game was close, right, in opening week. But he finished very strong. Saying is going to be saying, Jeremiah is going to be Jeremiah. Ohio State defense loses 3 top 11 picks, right? That no matter how talented and how much you stack classes, your defense is likely to take a step back, especially with losing your quarterback of the defense with Caleb Downs. That said, Ohio State's still going to have a top 10, top 15 defense at the worst, probably, maybe even higher, just maybe not the number one defense.
Yeah, they've brought in a lot of pieces through the portal. Earl Little Jr., obviously healthy. He's going to have to take over that role in the backs on the safety side. So definitely interesting matchup. It's at Texas. Completely understand why Texas would be favored, but I will let you know the last time Ohio State played at Texas, Ohio State did win that game. So Ohio State, they do put a winner on the field. Texas, Arch Manning, Julian Sayin, this is going to be the interesting thing. Both these guys are probably top 10 picks next year. It's a quarterback deep draft next year, but these guys are, both. Sayin was a Heisman contender last year. Arch Manning was, of course, a preseason favorite to win the Heisman, but now that he has a full season under his belt, and Rock is right, he did improve tremendously throughout the season. He's a front runner for the Heisman, along with Jeremiah Smith. I think Arch Manning is still number one, and Jeremiah Smith is number two in the Heisman voting. So you've got top two Heisman potential finalists here playing against each other. Potential number one and number two draft picks playing against each other. So should be really interesting.
The interesting thing, I think, to me was all of these other games that could have happened. Like, which of these would you have bumped into these? Even if they're interesting. You could have had Alabama and West Virginia was originally scheduled. Tennessee at Nebraska. We talked about USC and Ole Miss. Miami and South Carolina was supposed to be played this year. We talked about Georgia, Louisville. Let's see. Florida at NC State, sort of interesting. CJ Bailey returning back and a new coach there. That could have been interesting. Cal and BYU was out there at one point. Pitt and Wisconsin was out there at one point. The Illini and Missouri were out there at one point. So, and obviously, elephant in the room, Notre Dame and USC. Games
right.
That, had we not had the chaos of going to 9 conference games and people not being sure what the committee is going to do, taking a strong game off because they didn't know if they get credit for it. Those are a bunch of games that in theory were scheduled for the season. Now, a few games replaced them, but those games essentially got removed for, Power 4 team versus what directional state.
Yeah, it's very, very interesting what got pulled. But, after last season, I think a lot of people were probably thinking they made the right decision in pulling some of these tough out-of-conference games off the schedule. They look at Notre Dame playing Texas A&M as an out-of-conference game, and they say, hey, we don't want to have that loss on our schedule. So, and this is one of the things where I think if we get to a 16 or a 24-team playoff, we're going to get better out-of-conference matchups.
Do you think so for sure? I don't know if we do, unless the networks really pressure them to get more money and big games on. When do they ever take the right path?
Here's the thing. I think the SEC and the Big Ten, and to an extent the Big 12, could go to their media partners and say, give us extra money and we will schedule better matchups.
Right, and their media partners could be, give us better matchups or we're not going to get shit on your renegotiation.
That's very true. They could do that, but hey, live sports, man, everybody's negotiating. The NFL's out there pushing for more money. So, who knows? But that has been brought up before, that, hey, give us a little more money. We'll do this Big Ten SEC scheduling agreement and everybody can make some more money. We can get Oklahoma, Nebraska every year. We can get some good matchups. So I don't know. I think if you go to 24, I think it helps the case where people aren't so afraid of a loss that they won't.
Oh, I agree. That's what should happen. But this is college football.
Well, we shall see.
If I don't trust,
I understand you completely. Kenneth Maynard says Florida State will lose to SMU, Bama, Clemson, and Miami. Then they will fire him. Clemson's a real interesting one, too. What do they do with Dabo Swinney if he does not, the NIL era, the portal era, Dabo Swinney has really fallen off there at Clemson, and they may have to make a difficult choice this season.
I still think they're a few years away from difficult choicing Bobby Bowden and Dabo. I don't see it.
I think here's the problem. I think with conference realignment and everybody trying to look good for conference realignment, hey, I'm not taking anything away from Dabo, what he did for Clemson, but I think they have a fear that Clemson may get Nebraska, and they may be on a downward trajectory, and if they don't pull the plug, but we'll see.
Yeah, I think he certainly can't really, he certainly doesn't want to have another year where you go 7-5 and then put 9 guys in the league. But maybe the 9 guys just weren't the right culture, Who knows? He did go more into the portal this year. I don't know. I don't really expect Clemson to maybe be in the ACC championship game, but I see them more as like an 8-4, 9-3 kind of team.
Yeah, and see, I think that puts Clemson in a difficult position. Especially depending on what Venables does at Oklahoma, because I think they may target Venables if they do get rid of Dabo.
Yeah, but it depends upon how it looks, right? Young quarterback, 8-4, 9-3, and the upswing. I think you're totally fine.
We shall see. DeBoer and Norvell are similar though, like Skyline and Gold Star Chili. Don't tell that to people in Cincinnati. I've seen people fight viciously over which is better, Skyline or Gold Star, and I'm just sitting in the back gagging because it's all nasty.
I think DeBoer is an unquestionable good coach. I just don't know if he's the best fit for Alabama, but they did just sign him to an extension.
Yeah,
I don't think you can put DeBoer and Norvell in the same conversation. As much as it's been a challenging run, you never want to follow the GOAT. I never would have done that if I was him. I understand the appeal, but I think equating what DeBoer did prior to arriving at Alabama and what Norvell has done since getting at FSU outside of that 1 year are not the same conversation. He still made the playoffs in his down year.
Notre Dame is for the streets. There you go. I concur. Old Dad corrects me. FSU was 2-6 in the ACC last year. Yes, I took a little creative liberty saying you couldn't win an ACC conference game, but Mike Norvell's record over the last 2 seasons in the ACC is certainly questionable.
You were semantically wrong, but in a way, right? Wasn't there at least a period of 12 months where they did not win a game? And then he did win a couple.
Bob Swanger says, might be the only time in life I may root for Notre Dame.
Don't do it, Bob. It's
not worth it, Bob. You're better than that. You're a Penn State Nittany Lion. Kenneth Maynard thinks Notre Dame wins that by at least 3 scores over BYU. I think BYU. He might be referring to Wisconsin.
I think he was referring. Oh, yeah, it could have been that one too.
Old Dad thinks BYU wins the Notre Dame game. Kenneth Maynard likes Oklahoma at the Big House at Michigan. I kind of actually like Oklahoma there too.
I like Michigan.
That's a day I'll be an Oklahoma fan. That BYU versus Notre Dame needs to be prime time. Good news is they're playing it later in the season. It's not like an early non-conference game. It's in October. That probably will be an ABC primetime game. Shooter Texas, of course, he says Sooners will get smoked by the Utah coach. MBM wants to know if both teams can lose.
I mean, ask AI. Maybe AI will figure it
out. Oklahoma due to continuity. And then Bulldog Mississippi says, I think Michigan gets them in Ann Arbor.
I agree.
And by the way, Bulldog Mississippi has gifted 1 membership to the College Football Mafia family. Let me scroll up on my chat here and see who that went to. Oh, come on, chat. Come on. Where you at? That went to Cobra Cat. Cobra Cat received a gifted membership from Bulldog, Mississippi. Thank you, Bulldog, Mississippi, for gifting a membership. And Jacobra Cat, please enjoy that. Enjoy all the members-only content. And if you have not done so already, make sure you thank our friend Bulldog, Mississippi in the chat, just like I thanked him for giving me a premium membership to the College Football Express last week. And I will give him his, where's the cowbell sounder? Here we go, cowbell fever.
I got a fever, and the only prescription is more cowbell.
And then we got a super chat from Ryan Willie, the Evil Badger. He says, Notre Dame will not cover. I'm telling you, Evil Badger, I think I agree with you. I think 16.5, it's probably going to move more towards Notre Dame. Maybe go 17.5. I think I like Wisconsin to cover. I don't like Wisconsin to win. I think that's a tough ask to beat Notre Dame, but the idea that they're just going to go in there and have a cakewalk, I think, is a little ridiculous. But, you know, we'll see. They could be bad.
Right. That's right. We're bad. That's right.
All right, let me get back to these comments here. We've got a lot of comments, guys. I'm going to fly through these, try and get to them. I know we took a little longer than usual. I wanted to cover that top 10 games this week. Don Scruggs says Miami triggers me seriously. Miami walks over Notre Dame. Interesting take. I think that game's going to be very competitive. I don't know that it's going to be a blowout. Kenneth Maynard also thinks SMU will beat Notre Dame. Very interesting. Don Scruggs agrees SMU is over Notre Dame, and then Kenneth Maynard said SMU is going to be very good this year. Ohio State versus the Horns. I'm cheering for the asteroid. Hey, look, it's the lesser of two evils, man. Sometimes you just got to cheer for a team you don't like. Texas gets revenge. Whichever team loses, it defines their season. I don't know. I don't know about that. I don't think that really defines. If Texas loses at home in a close game, I don't think it hurts them that much. Now, if Ohio State goes in there and beats them by 2 scores, that will have a defining impact on the Longhorn season. Do they bounce back from that? Is their confidence rattled? But I think that's going to be a very close game, just like last year's game. Kenneth Maynard says Miami smacked Ohio State in the playoffs. Texas will expose them in week 1. Absolutely did. Ohio State, I wouldn't say they got blown out, obviously, but throwing that pick 6 when saying through that pick 6, I kind of knew.
It was a moment of glory.
I remember that night. I ended up drinking rum 151.
You want to be a transfer portal? A lot of rum.
I was drinking Crown, and it's like when it happened, I had mentioned earlier because I did a live stream of it, my reaction, and I just like, yeah, fuck it, I'm gonna go get the rum.
You want to be a 1-year player, transfer portal guy, become a legend at your new school, do a pick 6 against Ohio State in a playoff game. You can go to the Ring of Honor. Fast forward, legend.
James Franklin and Virginia Tech facing Maryland early will be a test for both teams. I agree. Sleeping on Kansas-Missouri game will be highly entertaining. I agree with you. I just don't know, based off of what Kansas put on the field last year, I don't know, man. I really want Kansas to win that game, but I just feel like Missouri is probably going to win that by 2 scores. Hey, that's a heated rivalry game there, too. Border war, Kansas, Missouri. So definitely bleeding Kansas. Definitely, some stuff going on there. Mizzou fans do say they hate Kansas. Absolutely. Kenneth Maynard says Tony Elliott from UVA will be the next Clemson coach. He is a Tiger. I think if Venables gets on a good playoff run with the Sooners, I think they go back to Venables. I just think he's a bigger name if they fire Dabo. John Dry says Texas red chili is the best, but I'm biased. Anything's better than Cincinnati chili. Can't stand it. I lost a bet and had to eat some, and I regretted it for several days after.
I don't know the definitions by heart of all these variations. Just don't put no damn beans in my chili, and we're good.
Yeah, I might rather eat a skunk's asshole before I would eat Cincinnati chili again.
I might not eat again after hearing that.
It's an Appalachian saying. Bulldog Mississippi says, what hardware does DeBoer have, though? He's got a Pac-12 championship. He did win that en route to the playoffs a couple years ago, the last 4-team playoffs. So that's what he has. You're right. He has not won a national championship yet, but
I mean, to be fair, he won 3 NAIA football national championships on his way up, right? So he has won at all levels. And I don't think you can completely just, I'm not saying it's the same thing as being in the Power 2 conference kind of thing, but he worked his way up from a certain level and did win national championships before, in addition to the Pac-12. And he got into a 14 playoff, right, with Washington. Put all of his wide receivers from that team in the league, essentially.
I'm going to pull up my Twitter feed here. Daniel said to do that, but FSU can't win an ACC conference road game. Unbelievable, but true. Knowles might need a 48-school playoff to have a shot. Like I said, I think Norvell, this is his last season. I agree with Rock. Dead man walking. Let me check the chat here. Bob Thompson says, I have had several people ask me about this segment on Tori's podcast, so I thought I would respond here as opposed to DMs. To assert first 20 SEC that nobody is making money on their NFL package is misleading in my mind. I can go ahead and put that up there. But I don't know that I can play the video, Daniel. It's sometimes, you get copyright struck for stuff like that and they'll take you down. And so I can't
link in the chat.
Yeah.
Everyone can go check it out.
Beautiful. Appreciate that. Yeah. Go check that out. Bob Thompson talking about the NFL packaging deal. And obviously you can go back to last week. Bob was talking about it on Tuesday with our own Nathan Bomber Brown and Mark Rogers. So definitely check that out too. Very interesting time there. Thank you for giving us that little news brief there, Daniel. I do appreciate it. And Daniel will have a new short out on the channel tomorrow. Adam B 6370. I don't think I've seen you around here before. I like that profile picture. Big 12 will have to make major changes if it wants to come along with the Power 2. Don't see a world where UCF, Baylor, Oklahoma State, Iowa State, and Kansas State staying at a power level.
I think Baylor can, and Oklahoma State, they have to just dedicate the resources to do it. It looks like Oklahoma State's taking some steps in that right direction. But I don't know. I'm not sure there's any scenario where anyone can go alongside the Power 2. I think you're really just trying to figure out if you're the third one in line as opposed to an equal.
Absolutely. And I think teams like Oklahoma State and Iowa State are going to be fine. Kansas State too. Listen, the Big 12's probably, as long as you survive, if you're the Big 12, that's all you have to do is survive. As long as you got a chip in a chair, as they say. This Stormy Cyclone with the $5 super chat. Greg is so cold that when he talks to Moen gets frostbite. It's true. When Greg calls me on my cell phone, I have to scrape the screen before I can answer the call. That's how cold Greg is.
I'm very disappointed that the entire community, that not one person yet has taken AI and morphed Greg's caricature picture from his channel with Mr. Freezemeister?
I did provide him one, not Freezemeister, but a frozen version of his logo. I also used AI to make a video of him as Mr. Freeze. Of course, it's not out of a mean-spirited thing. Greg and I are very good friends. It's just me poking the bear a little bit, as I am want to do. And I like to tell jokes and make people laugh. So thank you for that super chat, Stormy Cyclone. I don't have the tablet. I got to fix Google Drive on that one, but let me see if I can get you a good sounder here. Here we go.
Just doing this for money. We're doing it for a shitload of money.
And good luck to the Iowa State Cyclones this year. Hopefully they are able to bounce back after losing Matt Campbell. Let's see here. Bulldog Mississippi says, I'm not convinced, Rock.
He's talking about DeBoer, and I understand.
You know, yep. Right next door. I mean, we'll see how he does in the SEC going forward. Shooter Texas says, South Texas chili with no beans, but diced jalapenos. Good stuff. Anyone following Saban will never be good enough, impossible standard to live up to. You know, and you're right, and I hope Saban stays retired. I think
I wish he would really stay retired and shut the fuck up when it comes to some of this college football sports commission.
Well, right,
committees
because he is still effectively an employee of Alabama.
Right.
You know, if you ever watch, you know, he defends Alabama, he protects Alabama, all that stuff. But yeah, I mean, it's like, but Bill Belichick, I think, has done irreparable harm to his legacy by coming into the college ranks at UNC and absolutely laying an egg, and his whole 23-year-old girlfriend struggles. I think that destroyed his legacy. So if I'm Nick Saban, Urban Meyer, guys like this, just stay retired. We know your name comes up in the cycle every year. Just please stay retired. C. John says K-State is power. Absolutely. Power cat. Mo and Georgia Tech would already have a loss to Colorado in game 1. The Tennessee game will be meaningless. Have a great week, boys. Fergie, I hope you're right. I'm not sold on Prime being a good head coach and hiring good assistant coaches. I talked about it a little bit on Friday. I don't know if you saw that part of the show where, you know, Warren Sapp was a great defensive tackle, but
a terrible human.
Yeah, well, terrible human, but terrible coach too.
Keen for life, but a terrible person.
You know, it's like Michael Irvin on the side. That's what he should be. You know, he didn't need to be a coach. Just because you're a great player doesn't mean you're going to be a great coach. Most of your great coaches weren't great football players. Skaven, yes, says Greg is so cold he starts his own cold fronts. Kenneth Maynard says the Florida Auburn game will be a pivotal game. Too early. Real chili should not have beans, Southern style, yo. Ohio chili does have beans where I grew up. It does have kidney beans, so. Saban won't come back because he won't have a stacked deck. Well, I think that might be why he's been so adamant about getting involved in it legislatively. You know. Mr. Freeze, I need to request you Photoshop AI Greg face on Frozen Disney Girl. What is the name of that song? Yeah, whatever that song is. See if we can't. All right, go ahead and add it to the stage, Rock.
It's a quick attempt, you know, while multitasking.
I don't know. He looks like he looks like Minnie Pearl in that.
I don't.
Uh,
Yeah, it does. But that is the guy's hat. You know, he
Yeah.
needs to be more chiseled. Like I don't know if they know how to do the chiseled angular one to Greg, who Greg probably physically looks more like Heat Miser.
Yeah. I just, hey man, trying to get AI to do anything photo wise, you have to tell it like 15 times and you yell at it. Like my Google AI knows very well when I'm upset with it because I yell at it. And I will swear
I
at it
do
and be
too.
like,
I mean, the first one came out. I'll show you just how AI is taking over the world, but it can't do this request very well. Let's see. Sorry, Greg.
Belichick had a 483 winning percentage as an NFL head coach without Tom Brady. It was Tom, not Bill. Fair enough, but he does have a lot of Super Bowl rings.
Doesn't this one feel like AI knows that Greg likes aliens?
Yes, this is Mr. Freeze. This is Mr. Freeze, the Batman villain.
Right, which is not what it said to do it.
Right. But that's probably because I keep putting prompts in there to make Greg Flugar into Mr. Freeze. So I'm actually training Google AI to make Greg Mr. Freeze. I'm hoping that it falls into the Google algorithm at some point. You Google Greg Flugar and it's just like ice cold.
Just totally throwing everything off.
Yeah. There we go. Stormy Cyclone laughs out loud. Major frostbite on that nose. Let It Go. That was the name of that song. Oh, that song was everywhere. That was the one where John Travolta said that it was sung by Minerva. Should make that football into a cheeseburger. There you go.
That's
you
true.
know that's why Greg hates cheese. You can't make cheese on the cold. Rock, since your wife is a UCLA and you're a Miami fan, when Miami joins the Big, how will you two get along during games against each other?
The same way as every other waking hour. I will be wrong because I am.
Kenneth Maynard with a feature G6 game Friday night, November 6th on ESPN USF at East Carolina. Could be for first in the American. Yeah, be interesting to see how Brian Hartline does his first season at USF. He may need a season or so to get his legs underneath him, but I think I mentioned it last week. He's going to get a 5-star receiver there at some point. He will pull one from South Florida to go there. So lots of things to look forward to at USF, but I think ECU probably has that game won. It's at ECU. I would probably give that one to the Pirates. Thank you for the super chat, Kenneth. And let me play you a little song. You'll probably hear this during the game.
Stop! He's already dead.
And we'll end it with Go Pirates, no quarter. And then we're going to do our last call here. I want to thank everybody who joined us tonight. I want to thank everybody for their generosity with the super chats. Jacobra Cat, Ryan Willie, Stormy Cyclone, and Kenneth Maynard. I want to give a special shout out to Evil Badger, Ryan Willie, who dropped 10 gifted memberships. Thank you so much, Ryan Willie. Bulldog Mississippi gifted one as well, and he has contributed a lot of memberships to the channel. I want to thank him too. He's helped a lot of people be able to see the members-only content. Definitely something. If you got gifted a membership, make sure you thank that person in chat. And if you're watching on demand, thank them in the comments too. I'm sure they would appreciate that as much as we appreciate them. Thank you guys. Again, thank you, Kenneth Maynard, Stormy Cyclone, Evil Badger, and Jacobra Cat for the super chats as well. Thank you, Daniel Gygax, for being a member for 28 months. And Daniel will have a new short out on the channel tomorrow, so definitely check that out. I'm going to end the poll, by the way, and it looks like Smokey and the Bandit is the movie for next week. Smokey and the Bandit, classic, Jackie Gleason, must see. If you haven't watched it, make sure you go out of your way to watch it this week. My interesting piece of trivia for Porky's is, did you know that Porky's is indirectly the reason we have A Christmas Story.
I did not know that.
Yes. Same director, Bob Clark, directed Porky's and A Christmas Story. So I know they're two different things, but Bob Clark had been trying to get A Christmas Story made for years, and Porky's was the success of Porky's allowed him to be able to get that done. So interesting piece of trivia there about Porky's. I don't know how many people actually watched Porky's last week, but
Well, I have a new idea. I didn't come planning with it, but I know since we didn't get to the details of Porky's and it's a last call, my last call would be from each of these movies that we do, depending upon the room on your seemingly ever-growing soundboard, we can add a quote from all of these. So I'm going to nominate as my last call, either from Porky's of, "You want to tangle with me? Come up here. I'll educate you." That's one. There's a line before that, but we'll keep it out. And another one could be in the NIL era. This could be the honorary one for Georgia. "You got a busted taillight too? That's $20 more. Can you cover it?"
Yeah. Yep.
And
That's
every time Georgia has a new ticket, we can use that.
funniest scene in the movie Porky's is the office scene, the lineup with the coaches in the back uncontrollably laughing, and finally the principal laughing too. But my favorite, can we call it a tallywhacker, please? Can we call it a tallywhacker?
That's a good one.
My last call is non-conference games are fantastic. I want to make sure that everybody checks out the non-conference games. Getting good ratings on non-conference games, I think, are going to help ensure that we continue to have good non-conference games. I want to give a shout out again. I'm going to be called for bias. Ohio State and Alabama, home and away series the next 2 years. Very easily could have canceled that game, and both teams came together and said, "We are not canceling that game. We are going to play each other the next 2 seasons." Very cool from Alabama. Very cool from Ohio State. I hope more teams do that. I know we lost a lot. Rock brought up some of the games we lost because of moving to non-conference games in the SEC, but I don't want to see an end to these very good non-conference games. So
I agree. Let's hope that they do the right thing against all of their best instincts.
absolutely. I want to thank everybody for tuning in here tonight. Make sure that you like and subscribe if you have not done so already. Also, make sure you like and subscribe over at the CFB Express, where you can find Rock and Rant on Thursdays.
On Wednesdays and tomorrow.
Wednesdays. Okay.
Tomorrow we're talking about the SEC, little off-season Monday night stuff. But yeah, Monday and Wednesday on over on CFX. And remember these guys on Friday with Big Freaking Friday. I don't know what Bomber's doing this week, Moen.
He's interviewing Jeremiah Dickey, the AD of Boise State.
Interesting.
So
Is he
that's
going to get a free piece of the blue rug for doing so?
Smurf
An
turf.
inch?
A little bit of the Smurf turf. So definitely check that out if you're a Boise State fan. That'll be Tuesday. Or if you're just a Pac-12 fan in general, check that out.
Be careful, Boise State AD. You give Bomber an inch, he'll take a yard.
Yeah, that's true. And just make sure that you keep him as far away from Greg as you possibly can. I want to thank Rock for joining me tonight. I want to thank everybody for tuning in tonight. We will catch you next Sunday. I do like the idea about adding a line to the soundboard. I think we will do that. We'll maybe put a poll up of 4 lines, and we'll add them to the soundboard for each Moan movie of the week. I hope everybody enjoys Smokey and the Bandit this week. I think I already know what quote I want from that. Punch your mama right in the mouth. There's no way you are the fruit of my loins.
Oh, yeah.
Just classic Jackie Gleason. Absolutely classic. So definitely we'll catch you guys next Sunday. Check out Bomber stuff on Tuesday. And then I will see you again for the Big Freaking Friday show this week. Until then, have a safe week, everybody. Try and stay cool. I know it's going to be pretty hot across most of the East Coast. Try and stay cool, and we'll catch you next Sunday. Peace out.